Yo, Tuesday, April 5th, cosplaying the air drums. We have a lot of awesome stuff to talk about today. There's a car guy who is now on the board of Twitter. We were featured in Auto Ventures Report. Just a lot. It's just a lot.
The people really want to know who I is.
Isn't it always a lot, though?
It is. Every morning we're like, I think we can get through the show. Not really sure.
It isn't a lot.
It's not.
You know what's a lot and odd? You know how I live in Syracuse, New York, and we're kind of known for having a kind of a disproportionate amount of cloudy days in the wintertime. And if you look behind me, you can see that it looks a lot brighter and different than it has since we moved into the new office. And that's because this is the first day the sun's been up in the morning.
He's like, I've got my lighting all off because Syracuse decided to sun.
I'm like, shoot, I'm not a plan for sun. And I was like, man, I'm bummed. It's cloudy today.
It's cloudy for the first time in 9 days.
It's like
right?
sun. Yeah. Hey, man, that's not even exciting. Man, we have
you said something. Okay, look, coming from a car guy, okay, and I would consider myself a car guy.
I would too.
To say a car guy owns 9.2% of Twitter, I just don't know if I can get that phrasing. I don't know if that resonates with me. Now, a guy who owns an auto manufacturing company, OEM, owns 9.2% of Twitter.
I use the word
car guy. Come on, man.
Because I am not a car guy in the sense where like I really like get into cars. You know what I'm saying? Like there's different. Jay Leno's a car guy, but he's not a car guy.
No. Jay Leno's a car enthusiast,
but he would say he's a car guy.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's funny. The first time I've ever contextualized Elon. We're talking about Elon Musk. If you didn't know, the first time I contextualized Elon Musk as a car guy is when Brian Benstock did it, and I was like, he's like a car guy.
He was like, a car guy is the richest man in the world, and we were like, yep, we own him.
Brian Benstock, come on, right now we're like,
this is like, I don't know, this is a little crude, but if you ever saw like Chappelle's show back in the day, it was absolutely ridiculous, and he was the only one that could pull it off. But there was a racial draft, and it's like when you didn't want to associate with that person, all of a sudden they did something, and it's like, yep, we associate with him. It's like Elon became the richest man in the world, car guy, owns Twitter, car guy, check.
That's funny. That's a really funny point. What do we have? We have anything to talk about? Oh, let's do some host notes. Then we'll get into the story that broke, not just about Twitter, but also some additional news that broke, and we're getting some car industry news, and we'll go. But Kyle, you got a message yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so excited because I think it was just over a week ago. I told the story about the Chipotle experience and me calling the customer service rep.
If people haven't heard about it, really quickly, Kyle had a breakdown in Chipotle delivery. He called national customer service. The rep took really great care of him. And at the end, he said, have you ever considered working in automotive, right? Because we're actively recruiting to the automotive industry.
Yes.
So he was like, hit me up on LinkedIn if you're interested in getting into an awesome industry. And last night, you got the message.
I got the message. Now, okay, there's a couple like idiosyncrasies to this whole deal that are a part of the story that someday maybe we'll write a book about this particular little thing. Maybe I'm hoping this young lady becomes like a dealer in 8 years, right? Like the story writes itself. It's a Netflix original series and all that type of stuff. High hopes, but yes, she reached out and we're going to connect today. She's really interested in getting into the auto industry. So again, if you're in the Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse area and we reach out to you, we would love to be able to place this young lady into an auto dealership and change her career trajectory. But here's the interesting thing. So she reaches out to me on LinkedIn, and I was looking around, and the company that she currently works for is not actually Chipotle, which a lot of people know this, right? But she works for what's that?
Is it Sutherland?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's another large, like national remote work call center service, which is really crazy because she had to take ownership of the Chipotle experience
and the brand.
She said things like our store, right? She took full ownership of it. She probably just got off a call for like Applebee's, right? Right before it.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Maybe she's like a Chipotle
I don't know,
only customer.
I'm thinking Chipotle might have some dedicated.
They might, but for them to utilize secondary BDC, have the systems correct, all in line, all the all the word tracks, all the capacity to refund and all of that,
And give you a better experience.
Like I'm elevated now. I'm like, this was unbelievable because it's not just the person, it's all the technology that enabled her to be able to do that. So, lots to learn.
We'll see. We'll definitely keep you apprised of this story because it is not over. I have some phone calls to make from Rochester's not that far from me. I have some friends.
Yes.
We're gonna call next step. What does she need to make? Right, because that's going to dictate where we can plug her in. So we're going to work on this. Other quick notes. We have referral rewards. If you tell people about the email that we have at ASOTU.com, you can sign up there. If you get the email, forward it to some friends, right? It'll automatically track it if they just click on the link, sign up from the forwarded email. And we want to hook you up with some great swag, bracelets, stickers, hats, shirts, crew necks. Oh, where's my pin? Oh, I forgot to put my pin on.
Oh no,
the pin is so cool. The pin's great because if I just wear a regular black basic, I can just throw the pin on there and I feel like I'm dressed up.
Yes. Yeah. No, right. I love it. I'm surprised that more people haven't taken advantage of it because we literally send you this stuff for free. It's ridiculous. We've gone out of our way to send you free stuff. Let's go.
Can't forget the mugs too. I've been
the mugs
on the B cam. I love these things. And actually it seems like people really love the mug. Right? Because the mug, it's a good day to make trouble, or early mornings are for troublemakers. You see it on the screen right now. There's something about reading it on the mug in the morning as you're pouring the coffee and you're like, it's a good day to make some trouble. We got to get Clint Eastwood to say that.
Oh, man.
To make some trouble.
Oh, that would be so good. That would be so good.
All right. So big news yesterday. Elon Musk acquired a majority, or not a majority stake. We're not there yet. We're getting there. He is the largest shareholder now in Twitter after purchasing a 9.2% stake. It cost about $2.9 billion to do so. And he's in a little hot water with the SEC. No surprise there because you have to apparently file a disclosure when you do that. Require more than a 5% stake in the company. You have to file a disclosure saying that you did it, and he filed it late. Which is, I guess, kind of on brand for Elon Musk.
So on brand. He's like, come at me, bro.
Twitter stocks went up 28%. And this is he's been leading up to this, right? With a bunch of tweets talking about free speech being essential to a functioning democracy. And then, he does his Twitter polls, and his great tweet. I thought it was the best one. It says, the consequences, he said, do you want an edit button on Twitter? So now he's influencing the brand experience via his just personal account poll. Do you want an edit button? And actually it auto-corrected because I typed it in right to the show notes. It's YSE or ON.
That's so smart. That's so smart. Golly, that's just, oh my goodness. Okay. So,
and then let me finish that, and then we'll jam on it. And the news just broke this morning that Twitter announced that it will appoint Elon to its board of directors. How did that even happen? Were they okay, we should just ask him to be on the board then, right? I don't think it was pre-planned. He's like, hey, I'm gonna buy this, and no, I think he's just literally forcing the hand. And Twitter's like, if we put him on the board, you know what's gonna happen to the stock price?
Oh, without it, they're like 28% today, 40 tomorrow.
So tell me, in your opinion, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh man,
we got to start. Maybe I have to contextualize that a little bit. Is it a good thing or a bad thing for Twitter?
For Twitter, absolutely great thing. I think they have come up against this because they're text only primarily, and that's their. The move on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the primary movers is to a lot of video, is to store, last week TikTok announced stories. So you've got just a lot of movement to real-time video, and on a platform that is, words only. And obviously you can share videos and all that type of stuff, but the algorithm throttles it. And it, they've worked on the Spaces thing, but Clubhouse really still owns a lot of that space. I think there's going to be a certain impetus toward innovation for the platform,
Mhm.
which is going to be necessary, because in reality, like, you think about the platform, they've added Twitter Spaces and they added more characters. That's basically all they've done in 15 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, which
So
is actually impressive.
it is impressive for
I
sure.
mean, they had live streaming too.
Yes,
They had
sure.
Periscope. Um, I happen to think that more than the technology, I think it is going to impact Twitter in a positive way, but in a I think a tumultuous way, because in my opinion, Twitter's very inconsistent quote unquote commitment to free speech, and Elon Musk is very straightforward with his commitment.
Right.
Right. Even when Starlink, he was putting the satellites over in Russia and Ukraine, he's like, hey, we're not going to block any of the Russian news outlets, which, are like the propaganda outlets. He's like, look, I'm a free speech theorist, right? Like I can, once I start stopping information from going out, all of a sudden I'm the arbiter and curator, and I shouldn't be. So I think Twitter's success is going to come from figuring out what they're going to do with this free speech thing, because they no longer have a blank check. What are they going to cancel Musk? Right. They're going to cancel his account. And he's on the board now. So
Wow.
I think
that is a bold, that's a big piece, I think, of this, because, we talk about the algorithm, the throttling of certain accounts and things like that on social media platforms. And in the last year and a half, we've seen a lot of news, a lot of legal debates around the algorithms, the throttling of speech and all that. And so I think it's going to be an interesting move to watch what Twitter is expected to do based on his seat in the board.
Absolutely. So, and Elon Musk, is he a car guy? Is he not a car guy? We'll let you decide for yourself. But speaking of car guys,
stop. Segue time.
One of my favorite car guys, analyst, thinker, operator, Steve Greenfield, who CEO, founder of Automotive Ventures, has his monthly auto intel report, which we have talked about for a really long time on the show. I feel like there was a rite of passage that happened, and I never, if you would ask me 6 months ago, I wouldn't even seen a path for how I would end up in some way in his monthly intel report. But April came out, and he was awesome enough to include us in one of his little charts.
So gracious.
Seed round of funding. That made me feel really good. I just never thought I'd have any space in that.
I know, right? That's a really fun kind of call out and shout out, and to kind of put us in the same realm of all the other stuff that he talks about from a tech perspective and an automotive perspective. And we were actually having a conversation with one of our investors, Liza, yesterday, just about the energy around what this community, what the ASOTU community, and the ASOTU community, even though a lot of the face is Paul and I right now, it's more than that. It's a community that's pushing back together. The energy around it is a center point of automotive. And so, for him to include that is a shout out to that.
For sure. And, it's nice that there's like no other motion in the space. And that's one of the things, like, no one's doing anything in this. And Liza yesterday on that call, she was just like, the timing of this, like, this is the right time. And we started talking about that a little bit. Like, yeah, if it was 5 years ago, this couldn't have happened. And I think if it's 5 years from now, this couldn't happen. Like, the timing of this is right now. The serendipity of it, even like what happened in COVID and like how this even was birthed, it was from this DNA of auto dealers where, like, hey, when dealers band together, no crisis can win. And with all the shifting sands of technology and culture and manufacturing, right? Like, well, that is when things happen, right? It just is. You look at like when things can disproportionately gain traction, it's right now. So it was good to see that in his report. We'll probably get him on the show this week to talk about this. He's going to start contributing a little more. He also formed a group, dealer investment fund, where he got a bunch of dealer investors, and they are going to invest in products to, move technology forward and advance things. And one of the coolest things about this fund to me is the fact that they didn't, build the fund with anything in mind.
I know.
He's traveling all over the country, and you follow him on social media right now. They're traveling all over for dealer investor meetings, and they're actually trying to uncover what the biggest problem they need to solve are. And then they are going to actively look for companies they can invest in that solve those problems. Doesn't that make a little bit of sense?
Yeah, without a doubt. And this will come out, but I have a lot of passion for a very similar way of going to market. So it's a big deal. Yeah.
I love the part of the report where he says it's called "They Said It." right? And he just quotes some people.
Oh,
So
that is
I have a
good.
couple quotes I'd like to read. This one from Jeff Dyke, the CEO or Sonic Automotive president, the third largest dealer group at this point, publicly traded. He says, we had record front-end margins over $6,500 a copy in new cars for the quarter. We're pressing very hard for them, the OEMs, not to bring inventory levels back to pre-pandemic levels. We should be selling cars at MSRP. I mean, this industry needs to get away from doing all the negotiating. It's a hell of a lot less complex, much easier, and brings the right value for the vehicle. I just don't see margins ever coming back to pre-pandemic levels. The only thing that can screw this up is if they bring supply back, the OEMs back to 60, 70, 80-day levels that we used to see, and I just don't see it happening. So he's like, OEMs, this is your game to lose right now.
It absolutely is. And for them, the margins are there too. They haven't had to have rebates. I mean, come on. It is. We talked about the rebate thing last week, and if you constantly have to have rebates, the value of your vehicle isn't the value of the vehicle.
No,
and so
everybody gets used to that.
Yeah.
And so everyone's ready to negotiate.
Exactly. Yeah. You got rebates and negotiation, which lengthens the time of the sale, right? Decreases trust in the dealer and the OEM. And so, like, what are the things that we're trying to combat? Long sale times and lack of trust in the auto dealer.
And hold off the barbarians at the gate, who we just talked about in our first story.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is the chance to equalize that playing field. Like, this is the price of the vehicle. Do you want red, white, black? Like, which color do you want? Which package do you want? Buy it.
Exactly.
So, there's one other quote from an anonymous Nissan dealer. I like this. I've never seen an anonymous quote there before. But it's basically the dealer said, I need to make more money on the sale of EVs because there'll be much less long-term revenue for service and parts. I need to see a bigger upfront margin to operate a dealership profitably. Valid point.
We don't have any more time, but I've got a lot of thoughts on that. So maybe we just bring that back tomorrow because
we should.
There's truth. And there's a really short-sightedness to that as well. So there's a lot of truth, but there's a lot of short-sightedness in overall business revenue and the capacity to meet the customer where they are and find new revenue opportunities.
Well, I mean, obviously, the point is that if you run your dealership tomorrow when EVs are the norm, the same way you run your dealership today, yes, you need more money up front.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Because that doesn't work. But guess what? That's also not how the free market's going to work.
Exactly.
Because you can't just say to somebody, like, you're responsible for boosting my profits in the front end just because the world has shifted. So put
a coffee shop in that dealership, put 18 charge stations out front, and make revenue on the coffee and the charging station.
Oh, he's going to sell food service.
Come on, man. So many opportunities.
He said, come on, man. Joe Biden's face. Come on, man. Kyle, just come on, man. Come on, man. Well, come on, man. We can't even get to our third story, but because we've already been here for 18 minutes. But you can check it out in the show notes. It's about Amazon launching satellites to compete with Starlink, the satellite internet service provider. I think racing to be the ISP, internet service provider, is probably the next frontier of control of everybody's wallets and pocketbooks, because the shopping experience, you get free internet. Guess what? You're going to buy stuff from them. So there you go. We took you on a little tour this morning of everything going on in culture and automotive. Check out the show notes for the links. Sign up for the email, ASOTU.com. We have a lot more coming. It is only Tuesday, so go get some.